people asking me, how can I do to get bliss more easily? And one of, well, there are yoga, there are a lot of stuff, but also we are asking, please shut off your Wi-Fi, and also be careful with the pollution of the power supply. And in fact, I've received a lot of files coming from Flaming Mind and asking me, take a look at my brainwave and tell me more about what you see in my brainwave. But most of the time, it's a 50 Hertz or a 60 Hertz peak like this, and the brainwave are like this. And sometimes I'm wondering, do this person putting their finger in the plug, in the power plug? It's not possible to have such a pollution. And so with Flaming Mind, you can walk around all your place and select the perfect place when there is a low, very low pollution coming from this 50 or 60 Hertz. And there you sit or you make your meditation. But please don't do it too close to a power supply. Okay? The second thing, most of the person are telling me, well, why are you using Bluetooth? Is it possible to use a cable to avoid the Bluetooth? A few years ago, yes, I think it was quite important for very sensitive person, but now I just check here in this room. I have if the Flaming Sound app, you can, when you are looking for the Bluetooth device, it's not allowed anymore, so the next version I should remove this option. But for now, it's scanning all the Bluetooth devices which are in the room. And when I sit there, I have between, it depends, but between 5 and 10 and even more Bluetooth device activated and entering interaction with me. So, and also the latest car have Bluetooth inside, and you cannot remove, because previously there were cables to connect the different sensor in the car, and now everything is done with Bluetooth. There is only one cable, which is a power, the plus power. The minus power coming from the mass of the car, and everything is coming from Bluetooth. The proof that they can tell you if your bands are correctly filled with air. Okay, and there is no cable coming there. It's only Bluetooth, and you cannot cancel it. Okay, so we have to do with the Bluetooth, and I think that now everybody is using Bluetooth. Okay, so let's go to the second part.
I have a question about Bluetooth. You said your body adapts to whatever fields it's used to.
Yeah, it's a very sharp square wave, very noisy.
Yeah, it's not good, but you have to avoid it as far as you can, and also never put your iPhone or your iPad on your knees. So put it on the table or okay. So let's go to the next part. So we'll talk a little bit more about electricity and magnetism and piezo in the body. So we are measuring quite tiny signal from the body while making biofeedback. HRVs, millivolt, EEGs, microvolt, and we are subject to very low magnetic signal. So the Schumann is 1 picotesla. Pico is very small, huh? And I think that to deal with these very small signals that we are linked to, we have to quit a little bit our way of knowing, our way of understanding this small electric and magnetic information. And that's the purpose of this explanation this morning. In fact, during this presentation, I will make a lot of reference to a previous video well done with Fractal. So if you want more information about what I'm telling now, you can go back to this video. I showed you yesterday that there is an interaction between living things and plasma device that can create a standing wave. But also when we take the plasmaphire device, so the plasma globe, and we put compass just next to this globe, if we pour on and pour off the globe, it doesn't change anything to the compass. But when we take the compass in the hand and we are approaching the plasma device, most of the time the orientation to the north is changing when you are approaching. So there is an interaction with your body which is changing the magnetism that you are measuring. To show you the importance of the electric field inside the body, I will make some information about Michael Levin, which makes experience with flatworms. And with these flatworms, he have noticed that when he cut the flatworm in a lot of different pieces, the flatworm creates again a perfect, complete organism. And if he trained the flatworm to learn some behavior, even if he cut the head of the flatworm, the behavior is still there, is still coming there. So the memory is not in the nervous system of the flatworm, but the memory is somewhere else inside. Probably what he says linked to an electric gradient. And what he is done is he can, this is what
Shuffle Brain? Was that the book Shuffle Brain?
it's coming from a web. It's
His book, I think, is called Shuffle Brain.
Maybe, I don't.
Brain shuffles, you shuffle it and you put it back together and now it remembers.
Yeah, okay. This part, yeah, probably, yes. And here, he can measure also, this is 8-hour frog embryo. And what you can see is the different gradient of electricity that allows all the cells to talk to each other. So when he cut the flatworms, what is happening is that it creates a new worm again, but he noticed that if he is changing or creating a gradient in the middle part, so this is the middle part here, so he takes the middle part, and by changing the voltage gradient inside the middle part and creating two opposite gradients, you will get a worm with two heads. So this is the worm with two heads. It's really the gradient of electricity which is very, very, very important in living things. And it can also create extra limbs for the frog, just by creating a voltage gradient on some part of the frog.
Gradient is primarily attractive. That's what DC gradient is.
Yes, it's a DC gradient. Yeah.
Attraction, literally.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about the transducer that we are proposing. And they're using voltage, electricity, but also magnetism. So the magnet interacting with the blood cells, and a microcurrent is generating and stimulated the blood and the lymph circulation. And also electricity is charging the blood cells. That's the reason why, as Austin explained also, when we are charging with voltage the living blood cells, you have when they are packed, while charging them, they impact and they're free again. So this plasmaphire, it's not easy, it's always going down. Okay, so this plasmaphire, so there are two plasma balls, and they are receiving information from the iPad, from the Flaming Sound app, or also you can send information through an audio player. And from the iPad, of course, it's Schumann cascade related to Dunn equation. And so you can also send information, you can use music, but please use classic music or meditating music, because sending waves through the plasma ball is is very powerful. So if you send bad things, you receive bad things. You can also, of course, use together the plasma ball and the piezo or the small coin device. In this case, you place the plasma ball around you and you can put the piezo or the coil device directly on your body. And there are a few persons using plasma balls which are doing meditating session outside. And there are a few persons in Spain which are doing it on the beach. And so they are playing singing ball on the beach and sending the information through the balls. So this is an option that, of the device.
But by recording it, they're recording the singing bowl and sending that through. Directly with a microphone. Yeah, the microphone. Yeah.
And we are sending the information of the microphone directly to the balls. So you have the sound which is turning, but also the EMF coming from the balls. And this plasma ball, we have made a few tests to see the impact of the body. One of the first tests was done with very sensitive person, and through the table of frequency of flaming sound, which is related to the different part of the body, we were sending a chakra frequency, and we were asking this very sensitive person, where do you feel? What do you feel and where do you feel? And most of the time, their feeling corresponds to the frequency that we were sending. We also make a test to see how the plants were reacting. And by sending information through the ball and connecting the EEG to the plant, we are receiving through the plant and the life force measurement of flaming mind, we are receiving exactly the frequency that we were sending to the plant. We have also made experiment with Stéphane Cardinot and his LVA device, which can measure the information of the body of a group of persons, measuring the alignment of the chakra. So he has a device you can place up to 12 persons who place their hand on their sensor, and then you will have the map of the chakra of the group of the person. And you see before and after 20-minute session of the cascade of frequency of done. You see it's much better alignment after than before. We have measured also with the Korokov device, the BioL Korokov device, and we see that there is much more information coming in the room, and also after a while the entropy is going down. Also with the GDV device here, we make a GDV test before and after the session, and during the session we are sending the information related to the part of the body which is missing in the GDV picture. So here for this person there is missing frequency on the liver and also on the kidney. So during the 20-minute session we have sent information related to this part to this organ, and the aura field is coming back. So this was related to the plasma devices. Now I will explain more about our piezophile transducers. So there are two transducers. You see there are small transducers. One kind with piezo inside. So a piezo, it's a crystal. And the properties of the crystal is that when you compress the crystals, that's how the lighters are working, it creates electricity. And on the other way, when you send electricity to the crystal, it will change its volume. So this is a piezo device on the left. And then we are using also small coil device, which are flat coil, related to discovery of Nikola Tesla, and both piezo and coil have also a Shungite plate, and this Shungite plate is working like an amplifier. Now, most of the time the piezo device, as there are crystal, much more interacting with bones, with muscles. And the coil device more interact with cavity organs like stomach, intestine, pancreas, and bladder, and things like that. And when placing them in front of each other and using the shift option in the Flame in Mind waves, we are creating, like I explained on my previous presentation, so there are two waves, they are going in front of each other, and it can create a standing wave or also a 0 point in the middle. We can use two transducers at a time or only one transducer. The two possibilities are there. This is a representation of the frequency and how they are going from one channel to the other, so from one sensor to the other. And you see there is a movement and also the shift, so they're in opposing phase. And this is what is sent to the sensor when it's only one sensor at a time. Both are nice. Here it's a little bit like pulses, and here it's a movement between the two sensors. So, and like this, it's not always the same thing that the body is receiving. So there is a wave in the wave in the wave.
Stimulation.
Yeah, and stimulation. You can place this transducer in your room and send information through the balls. At the beginning, we start with Shungite sphere, because Shungite has a very strange properties. But now we have, very dielectric. And now, in fact, we have noticed that as the Shungite is already in the transducer, this small plate of Shungite, which is in the transducer, is working like an amplifier. And so we can really use different kind of crystal. I really like the ball because the ball is spreading in all directions at the same time. Some people ask me, can I use a pyramid? I say, okay, yes, why not? But be careful, because the pyramid has to be oriented. And there are bad and good faces of the pyramid. So with the sphere, we don't have this trouble. And during the night, I really like to use the rose crystal, because it's very calming, and you can send some information, a cascade of Dan, or also a different kind of waves. You can use it to clean a room. If you want to clean a room, you just place a sphere on the transducer and send the full cascade, full chakra cascade of Dan. We are sending information through the app, which is Flame in Sound, and Flame in Sound is also included for free in Flame in Mind. But some people do not have Apple devices. So we have created a cloud, and in this cloud I've placed a few of the main options of Flame in Sound that you can download. And as I explained in my previous presentation here, when you download from the cloud, you can insert in a program which is free, which is called Audacity, which is an audio sound program. And you can download the file and create the sequence of the file that you really want to use during the night or during a meditating session also. So the cascade of Dan is really marvelous, but there are also some other things which are very interesting to use with this device. I talked last time of Stéphane Cardinaux, who made the map of the frequency of the body, but he has also created a device that can get the information of a place or of an organ of a room. And with this device, which he called Emano, he has created, and you can download a lot of the different files with the frequency of the chakra, but also frequency of the mountain, frequency of a sacred place. And it's really working fine, because I have a friend of mine, a shamanic friend of mine, when she is in a sacred place, she gets white dot on her hand. And I used one of the file of Stefan, which is called Magic Place, but it's a sacred place. And when I send this information from the file that he created, and I send them, I started a long time ago with the plasma ball, and my friend I hide the boulder. I don't, and I ask her, "Do you feel something?" And then she looked at her hand and say, "Oh, why? What is it?" So the information from the recording of Stefan is going through the room. And recently I used this device, this small device. I placed a Shanghai sphere on it, and it was in a room about 8 meters and to 8 meters. So it's quite a big room with 2 Shanghai sphere, and she got exactly the same impact on her hand with this file. So it's really amazing because
Work the same with the piezo and the coil?
yes, it's a little bit different. But what I say, it's if you are using it during the night, use the coil, because the piezo can create sound, and it could be disturbing. But during the day, it's nice also to use the piezo. They have a little bit different impact, but I will show you more. It's possible to use to program water. Also, as Sarah explained yesterday, that you can use the fire crystal with the device. You just have to place it in your hand, and you can send information through the crystal. But you can also use the device to clean the crystal. If you send the full cascade of down, you will clean the crystal, because the crystal sometimes needs to be cleaned. This was regarding the piezo. Now regarding the coil, as I mentioned, it's a flat Tesla coil. And this flat Tesla coil is the same kind of coil that is used to charge your toothbrush, to cook, and also to charge your mobile phone. This is a longitudinal wave with also a torsion field. And to show you, I have made a few experiments that can show that the real impact of these kind of coils. So there are 2 coils here, and I place them below a flat device in which I place a sphere magnet. And you will see that regarding to the direction of the spiral, they are turning opposite. Well, this was not the one that we sell, but just to show you that it's also possible with the coil of the piezo device. We have the same effect. Again, what is important, and that's related also to what I showed yesterday with the plasma ball, to show when I was approaching my end to the small neon tube and creating a standing wave, the white balls which are appearing. To do this, it was done with specific frequency of the cascade of Dan related to Schumann frequency. And again here, to make it turn, the frequency that I have to send is Schumann frequency. If I'm using another frequency, the sphere is not turning. Now to show you, if I put 2 flat coils in front of each other, you will see that when I'm approaching, the other one is receiving the signal, but it must be in front of the other one. So that's the reason why the field is really going not in all ways around the coil, but just in front of the coil. So again, we are using very low magnetic fields, but in fact the Schumann resonance magnetic field is 1 picotesla. And the Earth magnetic field is between 30 and 50 microtesla. What's coming out of the device is about 5 to 30 microtesla. So it's very low, but it's not, for our body, it's not too low, because we are used to respond to pico, I don't know, pico in English also, picotesla also. Okay, and there are a lot of experiments which were done by NASA, but also here they are measuring healing person which are healing with their hands, and what's coming out from the hands when they're making a healing sessions is 0.3 microtesla, so it's very low. Now, regarding the piezo devices, we are using as a speaker, but also as a microphone. It's going both ways. So when you place two of these devices in front of each other, if you send information to one of them, you receive it on the other one. And in fact, it's amazing because we are always trying to see how it is working, how this information is going out from the device. And I have made a very strange experience. I place a Shungite sphere on the top of the piezo device, and I was measuring with the EKG sensor of the Muse EKG sensor. And normally, nothing should happen because the EKG is measuring microcurrents from your brain. And here I'm just moving the size of a crystal, that's all. And this movement induced something in the Shungite sphere, which is above. And again, I'm sending a frequency, but which is again related to the Schumann frequency cascade of Dan. I had to send something which was above the 50 Hertz pollution. So I select 87 Hertz, which is exactly in the cascade of Dan. Now I have the 50 Hertz, which is coming. The 50 Hertz is here, okay? And what I am sending is here, 87, which is somewhere here. Yeah. And so without the information coming out from the device, I get the 50 Hertz, so the pollution, the EMF pollution of the power supply. And then I press play, so I send the cascade of Dan related to 87 Hertz, and the 87 Hertz peak is coming. And then I press stop, it disappears, and again the 50 Hertz is coming back.
So it cancels out 50?
Maybe it's not cancelled completely, but what your body is receiving is less regarding the 50 Hertz pollution.
You've got a similar effect in Paris with the therapy.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, in fact, as Ralph mentioned, the Lakowski coil they are using in electroculture, they should be oriented regarding to the magnetic field of the Earth. And also, a beautiful picture of Tufan in my Russian copper pyramid. But this pyramid had also, to have the biggest effect, we place it on a crossing line, and also it should be oriented regarding to the north and south. Okay.
What is the pyramid made of?
Copper. So copper. Yeah, copper. Yeah. And yeah, it's very nice to make a meditation inside, really. And also, I think that it's very important. We have better result when we are sitting between the plasma ball, but also oriented north and south. Now, there are some information regarding the polarities of the body. So it seems that there is a left and right and up and down polarities in the body, which are inverted at some of the parts, and also there are flux of energy inside the body. This is called polarity therapy, and I recently found a guy which is called Eman, and this searcher is using a flat copper plate and connected the different flat copper plate to different parts of the body. And it's creating, he says that it's reharmonizing the body because it tends to a new balance and a new equilibrium. I don't have this plate copper, but I have coils, flat coils, with a copper cable between, and so I said, why not? I will try to see what's happening. I try with the different possibilities that he explained, and so I used this flat coil. And the first thing that I did, I took a cable with 2 alligator clips, and I put the 2 alligator clips on the plus of both of the coil, and I made a test, and I take a 10-minute rest and make the connection to my body and say, okay, let's try to see if I feel something, and I feel something. I feel some flow, something changing, something relaxing, and I say, okay. And then the next day I say I will do it again, but instead of using the alligator clips, I will use a connector what you can buy on Amazon to connect to jack cable. And so I start again with this connector instead of the alligator connectors. So normally I should have some kind of loop. So instead of a single wire, I will have a loop between these two coils. And so I start the next day with this connection. But I was very surprised because I didn't see that I took the wrong device. Instead of taking the flat coil, I took the piezo device. And during the session, I was feeling something was happening. So I was very upset because for me it was impossible. And so I say, okay, I dream, I induce it, and then I stay a couple of days without doing it, and then I say, I will try again, but with the piezo. And again, I was feeling something. So I remember what I just explained, something that we do not understand with the shunt guide and the measurement with the flaming sound device. And also I was remembering that one of the first person who tested the piezo device was Shelley in Canada. And she had strange response while placing the 2 transducer on the sacrum. And using a shunt guide sphere, when she was changing the place of the shunt guide sphere, it was inducing a sound. When you use the shunt guide ball at a certain distance, the sound is coming. So there are strange things which are coming. And so I say, okay, we are measuring very small amount of magnetism. Why not, if it's some kind of current which is coming from one sensor to the other, why not try to think that it could be microamp or picoamp? This is a measure of electric current. And so I was looking for a device that can measure the very, very small amount of current. And I found one. And so I decided to make some experiments and to see if we can measure something, if I was dreaming or not. And so I made different kind of experiments with one piezo device connected in a loop with the microamp meter, and I'm approaching my end and moving my hand around it. And then with 2 piezo devices with a loop and the special connector with the plus and minus. And then the same thing with the coil. And again, the coil, as I did on my first experiments, but only the 2 plus connected, and then with a loop with the connector connecting the minus and the plus sign. So the first experiment is with the coil connected to the amp meter. So I'm approaching, so only one coil. I'm approaching, nothing is happening. Now, I take 2 coils, but only with the plus sign. So the microamp is moving. On the other one, same thing. Now I will connect the 2 minus together. Also, it's the red cable between them, and I do the same experiment with my hand, and nothing is happening. No current is coming. And then I will remove the red cable and say, do it again, and a current is coming.
Patrick, were you barefooted in that room? Did you have your shoes off? Were you grounded in the room, your body grounded in the room?
No, I'm not grounded. And now I do the same thing with the piezo device. So a single device, bigger signal than with the coils, 10 times bigger.
There's capacity coupled
Yeah.
here. Not inductive.
Yes, yes, that's it, yeah. Now, with 2 piezo device, same thing, much bigger, 10 times much bigger again.
We have 5 minutes.
Okay, it's over, almost over.
And because this way you get the voltage with very little amperage, and so you get more, whereas with the coil connected, the coil sucks in the flow, the amps, so you get less voltage.
I got much current with the piezo than with the coil.
Because, what is it, current?
It's current, yes, it's ampere. And so I made another experiment with the idea of what Vida Austin is doing. And I say, maybe if I place the coils inside water, maybe something will happen. So I used a very fresh spring water and cold spring water, and I placed 2 coils inside the water for a few hours. And when the fresh water coming from the spring, but it's a very energetic spring water, when the temperature of the water increase, there are some little balls which are coming inside with gases coming, and they have an influence with the 2 coils, and you see there are shapes. Circle, but also see what's happening in the middle. Yeah, so there is, so we can measure also with water.
Is that always with Schumann frequency?
Nothing.
Oh, no, nothing. Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing.
the same as I explained with it's just something which is happening between the 2 coils in the environment, so they are talking to each other. Before I came here, I had a very back pain in the lower part of my back. And I said, okay, with the car, and boom, 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 when I will arrive, I will be almost dead. It's not possible. And I took these 2 piezo and I placed them like this during all the travel. It was gone when I arrived here.
Where did you plug it in?
No, just the 2, like they are connected together.
Because they kind of make an implosion between them.
Yeah, and you place the 2 shunts side And you have to as I explained previously, there are plus and minus in the body. So I took the part of my body plus and minus related to the part of the body that I want to use, and like this.
I didn't know which is plus and minus of your body.
So I just show it in the beginning. I can show you more. Just a second. No. Yeah, here, on the right, here. You see?
Oh,
Yeah. It's amazing because this part is minus, this one is plus. So that's the reason why here is making the connection between the head and his sacrum. And also you have a plus sign on your right hand, a minus sign on your left hand. And it is the opposite on your feet.
So the body was the voltage source.
Yeah, yeah. That's the same thing as the worm. I showed the worm to the beginning, but yeah, we have voltage gradient inside the body. And so what I did, because there is probably a plus there and a minus there or there, so I placed these two transducer there.
Autotherapy, doing polarity therapy.
Yeah, there are a lot of persons. I show it. The book. There is a book there making. It was called Polarity. The name of the book is called Polarity Therapy. I don't find it anymore. Yeah. Okay. Here. Yeah. So it's interesting because when you are traveling or you can really, well, it's not easy when you're moving at home or thing, but when you're sitting, you don't have your iPhone, you don't have the frequency to send, and it's already working.
you touch the yellow to your skin, or does it?
The yellow part on both, these are the piezo, but for the coil, the yellow part also is the shungite plate. So the shungite plate has probably also an effect.
It has to touch the skin.
No, you
Nice facing.
yeah.
Thank you, Patrick. Thanks so much.
Thank you.